All right, so let's talk about cash rides. Should you take them? Should you not? And what are people doing? Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to the Rideshare Guy. And that's right, Uber rolled out cash rides to over 50 markets. And we wanted to know, what are you doing? So we put a poll out on the Rideshare Guy. We're going to talk about the poll. We're also going to go over some of the comments of that poll. And then I'm going to share my thoughts on if you should or shouldn't take cash rides and what you could expect if you do. And we'll go from there. So first off, if you haven't noticed, we do put polls out on our Facebook community tabs and different places. So whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, we put different posts, and sometimes we'll take your comments and highlight them, which we're going to be doing today. But when it came to our YouTube poll on whether you would be taking cash rides or not, we had a pretty interesting amount of people respond with over 800 replies. And basically what it had said, as you can see on the screen, Uber rolled out cash rides in 50 cities across the US. Will you be accepting cash rides or opting out? So of course we had open to accepting them, opting out, unsure. And those 10% of people, or 80, said, show me the results. Come on, you can't just click it, whatever you want. Whatever. I digress. Either way, though, what we noticed is 73% of people said that they were opting out. They're not going to be doing them. That means that 10% are open to actually accepting them. 7% still are on the fence. They're not sure. And of course, I get, like I said, the 10% that said, just show me the results. Come on. Answer the question. Either way, that is showing what people are thinking. And they're saying, no, I don't want to take cash rides. I don't want to carry cash on me. I don't want to have to deal with cash. I don't want to have to deal with the added stress of cash rides. We've highlighted that already on Show Me the Money Club. And if you're not watching Show Me the Money Club, it is live Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And it is Sergio and myself talking about different things within the rideshare world, whether it's stories, whether it's things like this, and what you should watch out for when taking cash rides, because we've highlighted a few issues already. So we want to make sure that you guys are on top of it and aware. So if you ever find yourself in a similar situation, you kind of have an idea of what possibly to do at that point. But either way, like I said, 73% of people said that they don't want to take cash rides. But we have 31 comments. And as I was scrolling through all of these comments, nobody said that they would take cash rides. There were a couple of things in here that kind of said that they might and they might not. But I have to go through. Hold on. Let me find that. Let's see. Oh, here, MDWZ8UZ says, depends on the side of town. And that was pretty much it when it came to the possibilities. And then QuickCat21MK says the benefit to cash payments, big tips, take premium rides for cash, and you're getting like $20 tip. Downside, now street criminals will think everyone has cash who rolls. NFJ Uber. So yeah, that's pretty much all of the comments that were slightly on the okay of taking cash rides, but not really. So some of the other comments were quite different. And it said, Adam Holmes, 1992, said, seems like a target to get robbed. Also seems like a target to get falsely accused by not giving the correct change. Yep, that is an issue. So basically, let's say the ride is $15. They hand you $15 and then they can say, they hand you $10 and say, I don't have the $5. I only got $10 on me. And then you make the report saying they only paid $10 and Uber has to figure out how to make it whole because they said they're going to be the ones who make it whole. And then, of course, they're going to get hold of the customer and the customer's going to say, oh, no, I paid $15. I paid 15. I know I did. I gave them a 10 and a 5. And that's kind of what it's going to come down to is the he said, she said thing. So how is that going to reflect? Is that going to reflect on drivers or is Uber going to eat that cost? I have a feeling it's going to fall on the drivers. But I digress. Let's go on to a couple other comments. We have Don't Be Sensitive says, the fact that there are drivers open to this proves how Uber can keep getting away with taking advantage of drivers because they're morons. Well, look, hey, if you want to take cash rides, that's up to you. If you don't want to take cash rides, then that's fine. I wouldn't call them morons. I would call them, hey, if 73% of people say that they don't want to take a ride or are not open to it, and I'm one of the 10% that says I'm open to it, and let's say 10% of cash rides are in my market, those drivers are going to be a little bit busier. They're going to be taking cash rides. They're going to have more risk. But if they're evaluating that risk, maybe they're actually making more money. So I'm going to play devil's advocate to that one. But either way, Tupac 2672 says the only cash I accept is tips. I like that. Bar, toes, wings, whatever. We have that in Puerto Rico. A lot of people not paying that. They start talking shit likewise. I forgot the cash, blah, blah, blah. And you could do nothing with it. Police not coming because they know for coming for $10 plus you will lose a lot of time. And Uber's doing nothing with it. It's bullshit. And we have the option to turn off a cash ride. We don't have the option to turn off cash rides. So unfortunately in Puerto Rico, you screwed. Unfortunately in Mexico and Brazil and a couple of these other areas, I don't know if you have the option like you do in the US, but you just got to be careful with that. So Wishbone 20T says, if you don't have your life together enough to own a debit card, you can't get my card. Debit card is a pretty low barrier. To be honest, having adults that don't have their life together enough to own a vehicle in my car is bad enough. An adult not having a vehicle is an instant red flag. However, statistically bad life decisions, including drugs, typically prevalent in this group. 80-20 rule, 80% of your problems come from 20% of a given group. If I had to point my finger and place it right there, now let's lower the barrier entry even further. Imagine a person that does not possess a debit card. Partially true and partially not true. I think you're lumping a lot of people together. A lot of people in the city, you don't necessarily need to have a car. In fact, it costs a lot of money to have a car in a city. Let's say you live in New York. If you live in Manhattan, you have to store your car somewhere, usually in a garage. That's going to be extremely expensive. That's rent in itself, just for a parking spot for your garage, for your car. Then you have to pay the insurance and you have to pay all this other stuff. Usually you're not even going to be driving it most of the time. So a lot of people don't even have cars to begin with when it comes down to it. They're going to be using more public transportation or Uber, Lyft, taxis, whatever it might be in order to get around. So depending on where you are, maybe. But again, I'm going to play devil's advocate to that because a lot of people are not buying cars. Not only that, you're talking about an entire generation. Gen Z, they're not buying cars the same way that millennials, Gen Y, and boomers have cars. They don't see the same benefit as it is. They just think getting a Uber and Lyft is one thing. So I wouldn't say that necessarily, but when it comes down to not being able to have a debit card or something like that, I think you should be able to find a way in order to get paid and have money on hand and things like that in the event that you need to, because we are fastly changing how we pay for things. It's now becoming a cashless society versus a cashed society. And we've seen that for quite a few years now at this point. So, you got to kind of come down to that. But then let's do this. 6274 just says, hell no. And that's pretty much what most people are saying. They don't want to take cash rides. They don't want to be open to the problems that it can associate with people not paying, with people saying that they paid or that they paid a certain amount when they really didn't, causing a headache for the driver. Maybe they just get out of the car and don't pay at all. There's a lot of issues that could be going with that. So then the question is, should you take cash rides? And I think it's going to be really up to you and what you want to deal with. Yes, there's going to be more of a headache. Yes, there's going to be more of a potential problem coming from cash rides. And then you have to figure out, are you going to carry a bank? Are you going to carry money on you? When are you driving? Can all play a factor into it, because this goes till, I believe 10 p.m. And after that, then there are no cash rides allowed. So at night, but up until that point, you don't have a bank that's open. So if you start taking a few cash rides, you might have some cash on you. And if you don't want to carry cash on you for whatever reason, it might be difficult for you to get to that bank because it's going to be closed at that time. So those are all a lot of things to think about. But I think it's going to really come down to the particular person. Yes, 10% of people may see more cash rides coming to them because they're the ones who are actually opted into or willing to take them. My thoughts personally, I don't think I want to deal with the headache. There's already a lot that you have to deal with when you're an Uber driver, whether that's too many passengers getting in the car, whether that's children without car seats, whether that's, people trying to screw you one way or the other by saying some false accusation. And then this just can add to it. So the question is the risk versus the reward worth it? You got to figure that out for yourself, whether you want to take the rides or not. But I want to know, again, what are your comments? What are your thoughts? Make sure you put them in the comments below. And with that being said, if you want to know how Uber screwed drivers even more, check out this video right here. We'll see you in the next one.